That's right! Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers! Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Welcome to a movie month where we enter Dante's Inferno. Joe Dante's Inferno, that is. The Looney filmmaker with a small yet immeasurable army of B-movie fans eager to catch the next showing of Mant! Grab a seat in our Rumble-Rama theater, but be warned, there are gremlins in the projection booth. As we roll the B-roll on Joe Dante month with tonight's feature presentation, Space Jam! Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Looney Tunes, back in action! That was a bad attempt at making the Michael Jordan reference from this movie. That was lame.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm lame, Dragon. What do you like? You've worked with me for almost 10 years. You know I'm lame at this point.
Yeah.
Anyways, God. Okay, so Dragon, just diving right into it. I have been having a heck of a time with this, with these Joe Dante movies, man. We are ending on Small Soldiers, which is the one movie this month that I actually have seen. But yeah, Matinee, Gremlins 2, and this all really kick-ass movies in their own way. I think Gremlins 2 is really a great sort of meta movie. You know, it's a great kind of like meta commentary on sequels and franchises. It honestly kind of feels ahead of its time in that regard. It feels a lot like Wayne's World 2, and the fact that like it's not a classic that the same way the original is. But by the same token, I feel like it's a lot of fun. It's got it's a little bit more fast and loose. And the Matinee is just fantastic. Love it. Love the, love the set piece. Love the whole idea of it. Dragon, it's basically like just a fever dream for you and I of like, it's literally a movie about like a 4D theater. It's like, that's so cool. Obviously the John Goodman in that. And here we come to Looney Tunes Back in Action, which, Dragon, this, by all intents and purposes, is a movie that I should have seen by now. It's kind of ridiculous that I haven't.
I was very surprised you hadn't seen this.
No. And I feel like this came out in 2003. And 2003 was like, it was like the one time in my life, like, I would say maybe like 2003 to like maybe 2005 or so. Like, it was just like a few years of me being a teenager where I was like, I'm not going to go see kids' movies.
Yeah, the angsty mophead years, yeah.
Like, I made an exception for the Pixar stuff, so obviously in that time I was seeing stuff like Finding Nemo, Incredibles, stuff like that. But yeah, just generally speaking, I was kind of stupidly avoiding kids' movies. And Drake, this is wonderful. I feel like this is like easily like maybe the best Looney Tunes movie ever. Just as far as like pure fan service goes, I feel like the characters are all really on point and used really well. I love the how weird and fourth wall breaky and how much they use cartoon logic. And basically, Dragon, to kind of give like a poster statement for my thoughts on this movie, this is what The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle was probably aiming for. I still like The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, but
imagine how much better it'd be if Joe Dante directed it, though.
Right, but I feel like this is like that movie, but living up to all its potential. Do you agree?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of like the Rocky and Bullwinkle DNA from what that movie was attempting to do. So yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Yeah.
All right. So what are your thoughts on this? I'm sure you probably have a lot of like childhood nostalgia for it, unlike me.
Indeed, I do. So yeah, if I recall, I saw this one theatrically even. Yeah, I loved Space Jam as a kid. When it was released on home video, so basically having seen that as a kid, I was pre-sold like, okay, more Looney Tunes in live action. I'm in the bag for this thing. Yeah. So now here's the thing. Space Jam has nostalgia on its side. Very much it's the biggest weapon in its infantry, one could say. But
one could say it's the only weapon in its infantry.
I mean, pretty much, yes. Delicate, but yes. So that's the interesting dichotomy between these two, where Space Jam has nostalgia on its side, but interestingly, not there is nostalgia for Looney Tunes built into this. Like, it's pure Looney Tunes nostalgia built into this. Chuck Jones nostalgia, to be specific. It's a loving tribute to the Looney Tunes by Joe Dante, who, even acknowledging, the compromise, that at hand to do that. It is a throughout the film, he's very much acknowledging, like, hey, I made the Looney Tunes movie I always wanted to make, but it is a studio action film, so I'm going to make that into basically the plot of the movie. It's a Looney Tunes. The only way we can make a Looney Tunes movie is if it were an action movie, which is the only thing at that time before the superhero movies really took off. That was the thing that sold, the action film. So it's quite clever, despite not having much of a plot to it, because that's the only real knock I even remotely have against this thing.
I love Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah,
I'm not so much of a fan of Jenna Elfman in this movie. I'll say that much.
Interesting. So my point is, so that's the thing. So it's just ultimately for me, there's just not much of a plot. It's just the only. It basically feels like Joe Dante. He could only pull, like, it's not having much of a plot, but having Looney Tunes like energy to the nth degree is like a hat trick he can only pull once, which he did already on Gremlins 2. So it feels like he would have loved to have pulled like another Gremlins 2 in terms of the success rate for that sort of thing. But, ultimately, look, it's not much substance, but the gags and the effects are pretty fun. And again, the Joe Danteism shine quite nicely, especially when we go to Area 52. So a lot of fun to be had there. Looney Tunes Back in Action is definitely one I look back to fondly, but it's honestly, it's like one I do not go back to often, probably as much as Space Jam. But when I go back to Looney Tunes Back in Action, oh yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Z&K channel in the comments here. They're saying, discounting the package films of the 70s and 80s, this is the only good Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah, that's what you're forgetting, like the whole 1001 Rabbit Tales and all that sort of.
And I wasn't forgetting them. I still think this movie's probably better than them overall, just by the nature of it being like a full-blown movie and not a package film.
Yeah, and Daffy Duck's Fantasy Island, and yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The
those movies are good. I have nostalgia for them, but, at the end of the day, they are just like collections of pre-existing shorts.
Fair point.
Z&K also says, I never saw Space Jam until middle school. I never got why it was good or even why Bugs played basketball until I learned the history later. Yeah, it was kind of, if you didn't know the commercials, oddly, Dragon, it's like I was around during that time and I don't even really remember the commercials. Like, I'm sure they were out there. I'm sure they were prevalent, but anyways. Okay, so what's the background on this, Dragon?
Okay, so the background on this is fascinating. It's not ample, but it is fascinating. Because this is John. Okay, so this, out of all the films that we have covered about Joe Dante, Tiki, now we may ever cover with Joe Dante, this one actually lives up to the namesake, Dante's Inferno. This one was Dante's Inferno. He hated working on this film.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I mean, it's like, I imagine he must have been a big Looney Tunes fan.
I know, and that's why. That's the thing. He loved, it was like his dream project, which kind of turned into a nightmare.
Oh, jeez.
So he hated working on the film for the year and a half the film was his involvement of the film was. It's a sore spot for him. He really doesn't like to talk about Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Really? Oh, wow.
Like, he's given like roughly one interview about, like, he's like, it's Joe Dante. He's really nice.
I had no idea. Like, I knew it was a flop. I had no idea he resented it that much.
I mean, to the degree where he's really polite about it, mind you. Like, these people, they really drag it out of him. They're going to get like really quick little snippets about, like, I don't like to talk about it. But, like, he does that thing where he just kind of glazes over. It's right. Basically his kind of soundbite on it is like, well, I like parts of it, but it's a big studio movie. So anyway, the ultimate here. Okay, let me walk you through the history here. So remember, Tiki, this is dating back to Warner Brothers feature animation, not like the WAG or whatever the logo is right now, but Warner Brothers feature animation was essentially an endeavor from 96 to 03. So I forgot that it was like a literal timetable that is bookended by Looney Tunes. So funny enough, because you have essentially all the animated, feature animation projects when Warner Brothers was trying to chase the Disney Renaissance. That's essentially what was happening there. Warner Brothers dusted off like, hey, let's do a feature animation division to chase that Disney money. Right. So again, basically at this period of time, you have 6 films. You got Space Jam, Cats Don't Dance, Quest for Camelot, Iron Giant, Osmosis Jones, and then finally Looney Tunes Back in Action. So again, they're chasing the Disney Renaissance, and with the exception of the Iron Giant, essentially the suits at Warner Brothers, they just didn't get how feature animation works, and the fact that you can't change things willy-nilly within the animation process, where Disney absolutely had a hold on that sort of thing. We're okay, well, we plan these things in advance, and there's like the 4-year breakdown, essentially what the building blocks of animation, like there's the script, and then you record the lines, and so on and so on. So basically at a certain stage of the production, you can't say, I don't like that, change it. Like, wait, what? We can't change, it's animation, we can't, we don't have that much time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so again, just guys in suits just making arbitrary decisions, and these are guys who really just wanted to make, hey, let's capitalize on our big logo, versus Bugs Bunny stepping out of the Warner Brothers logo, versus like, hey, let's do a Looney Tunes movie. These are the guys are like, yeah, let's make the money. And that's essentially what they're doing here. They're trying to cash in on Space Jam for years with a number of bad ideas for sequels. Basically insert a different celebrity here. Like there was Spy Jam with Jackie Chan, which essentially turns into Spy Next Door years later. You had Race Jam with Jeff Gordon, which is why Jeff Gordon is in this movie briefly. Then you have, like, there was Tony Hawk, and then there was Tiger Woods, and you see where it's going for years.
I think Tony Hawk would have been the one that probably would have actually worked.
I mean, maybe, but still. And then ultimately you get LeBron James, and we know how that worked out. So the point being, for years they're trying to cash in on Space Jam anyway. So at this time, this is where they'll break out the tissues, folks, and start singing the national anthem. This is where things get nice. So Joe Dante, as we've established, his hero, because he grew up loving Looney Tunes and Disney animation as well, just in general, he liked animation growing up, particularly Looney Tunes. His hero, his idol, is Chuck Jones, which is why he put him in Gremlins, and that's why Gremlins 2 opens with Chuck Jones animation. He loves Chuck Jones. So Chuck Jones told him, and this is, everyone kind of knows this about Space Jam, Chuck Jones, who is pretty much like the A tier, like this is the when you think Looney Tunes, you're thinking Chuck Jones.
Tim and Tex Avery, yeah.
Exactly, those two. So Chuck Jones told him, shared with Joe Dante, that, hey, Chuck, what did you think of that Space Jam movie? He was very disappointed in how the Looney Tunes were represented in that film. Chuck Jones never liked how Looney Tunes were in that film. So this kind of led to almost like a Donner Superman thing with Joe Dante, where, after Chuck Jones passed away, right around the time they were, looking to make another Space Jam, Joe Dante stepped up and he threw his hat in the ring saying, hey, I want to do a Looney Tunes movie, to do right by Chuck Jones, to basically do the anti-Space Jam. That's literally what is kind of nicknamed the process. I want to make the anti-Space Jam. I want to do right by the characters and do right by Chuck Jones's work on the Looney Tunes. Kind of like how Richard Donner didn't want, them to make a campy Superman like 60s Batman. He wanted to do him upright. Mm-hmm. So that's why I took on the project, purely to do right by his mentor. Which there's a thing of beauty, man. Like, God bless Joe Dante for that. That warms the cockles of my heart, sir. Anyway, so he brings in, Joe Dante doing upright, he brings in animation expert, Disney's top animator, in my opinion. He brings in Eric Goldberg.
Yes, who also provides a couple voices here and there.
Yes, and of course Goldberg, the genie, the man who brought the genie to life.
That's what I will always recognize Eric Goldberg for.
Absolutely. So anyway, so in the making of this film, kind of doing kind of a massaged, kind of a years later massaged out version of the Roger Rabbit kind of process. Now, we did the hard work with Roger Rabbit. We kind of know how it works now. So essentially what Joe Dante did in the making of this film is he had to shoot every scene in the film 3 times. Exactly, to match it up. So you have like one, like the run with the puppets, where basically you have like a puppet of like Bugs and Daffy, like going around like a guy, crawling on his legs, basically helping them in the scene visualize where they are and having the voice actor off screen. You have them just playing to the voice actor and nothing in the scene, and then they have like the little motion capture ball, basically like a little lighting meter, little light meter chrome ball thing in the scene. So shoot it 3 times, which is insanity in itself. So then you get a whole bunch of studio notes and changes, which ultimately resulted, as Joe Dante has put it, the beginning, middle, and end of the film completely different, completely altered from what he originally pitched and envisioned. So pretty much all it seems like all the Looney Tunes gags, or at least for the most part, are the stuff that he pitched and stuff that he wanted in there and stuff that he can walk away proud of. And ultimately what happened was this film was a box office bomb because of the competition of 2003. Because I don't have to tell you, this movie kept getting bumped because it was going up against some really big titans in 2003. You had Finding Nemo. You had Elf. You had Lord of the Rings, the third, I think it was the third Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, the third one, yeah.
Third Lord of the Rings. So basically Warner Bros. Kind of threw its hands up in the air, kind of giving up on the animation.
Pirates of the Caribbean, too.
So this is like Warner Bros. At the very end, them just completely giving up and like, okay, look, we're not going to promote this thing. Barely, if anything at all, which is the curse of all the animated films. They never promote them well, which is why they flopped. Even Phantasm. Well, yeah, anyway, point being, Phantasm, I think, barely made it.
It's kind of like Warner Brothers does that, and then Disney with their 2D animated movies. They release them against Harry Potter movies, Dragon. If I had a nickel for every time Disney released a 2D hand-drawn movie against a Harry Potter movie, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's still weird that it happened twice.
No, it's 10 cents.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, so...
Oh, God, that quote is just so evergreen.
So again, as Joe Dante has kind of put it, the bigger problem at play here is that they made movies to cash in on the Looney Tunes. The problem was, around 2003, the Looney Tunes were non-existent in terms of, like there weren't Looney Tunes shows really on at that time. It was just like Looney Tunes were kind of bygone at that time. So it's like, who are we making this for? Who's going to the kids today are unfortunately not recognizing the Looney Tunes as fast as they should outside.
And they think that was a problem in 2003. At least Cartoon Network was still playing Looney Tunes in 2003.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we had that's something. There weren't really any big Looney Tunes cash-ins between that and in Space Jam, really. Mm-hmm. So really, there's like a big kind of gap in which they released the film. It had no marketing push or anything. So again, it was the last on a lot of fronts, not just with them with the feature animation division, but a lot of Joe Dante's collaborators passed away here. Jerry Goldsmith, the composer, like the go-to composer.
Yeah.
Passing. Peter Graves, our guy who does Mr. Exposition. Of course, he's popped up in a bunch of things like Men in Black 2. He passed after this. And the passing of Joe Dante's studio movie career. This is the last studio movie Joe Dante ever did because he had such a terrible time working on it.
Yeah.
He did. I think he did. After this, I think he does like 1 or 2 indie movies afterwards, and that's about it. I already mentioned, box office bomb. Critics were nice enough to it, though. I got to be honest. The critics gave it overall, critics were kind of nice to it, but it was a bomb.
I feel like it kind of got like 3-star reviews overall.
Yeah. It was basically got kind of like the pat on the head, like not like
right.
Like, okay, it's not bad, Joe. You did right by the Looney Tunes, not bad. And just Joe Dante likes segments of it, but ultimately it's a painful experience for him. He adores the Looney Tunes, but this killed him for a while. This killed the Looney Tunes for a while.
All right, so in that regard, Dragon, I think the place to start is probably going to be, because it's like there's a lot of Looney Tunes stuff in this movie we can just geek out about. There really is. I think I really do think Dragon, in retrospect, I really hope that he knows he probably did make Chuck Jones proud with the Looney Tunes stuff. And the stuff that doesn't work in this movie, I imagine was not his fault. So it's like, I hope that he softened up at least a little bit to at least his involvement in this.
That's the thing. It sounds like Joe Dante's good, but I think he's taking comfort in the fact that he succeeded by doing right by
because I genuinely think this is some of the best Looney Tunes stuff we've had.
Because the Looney Tunes are exactly in character and timed like what the Chuck Jones iteration of those characters would do, which again is the best iteration, in my humble opinion.
But with that in mind, I mean, the human characters are not great.
I mean, I gotta be honest. Look,
I like Brendan Fraser, but even he's mostly just coasting off of the mummy energy.
I mean, look, Brendan Fraser, in my humble opinion, I think he's so darn charming. I really do. I think he can be so ridiculously charming.
And he's charming in this movie too. Yeah. I just don't really think there's a ton to his character beyond just my father happens to be Timothy Dalton, super spy.
Well, shout out real quick too, by the way. Again, I know he's going to be in the new Batgirl movie coming up, but Brendan Fraser, he is so ridiculously good in that Doom Patrol show, which, by the way, he is re-teamed with Timothy Dalton, who plays his father figure in that. Not his father, but his father figure in
that. He's actually got a new movie coming out, directed by Darren Aronofsky, where he's getting a lot of hype, Dragon.
Yeah, well, he's getting around. He was in that No Sudden Moves, a Steven Soderbergh film. Yeah. Anywho, but I guess with the human characters, I mean, I loved that Joe Dante gave a practical reason for why we've thrown our security guard character into an action situation, and that he's a stuntman. He'd be perfect for an action situation. That makes a lot of sense, and we gave him a hilarious meta reason too. The idea that DJ is Brendan Fraser's stunt double on stuntman.
I love that. Yeah.
Until he was fired, which is why he's looking for new gigs and he's down on his luck because Brendan Fraser, his ego, fired him. The Brandmeister does his own stunts.
By the way, there's just a lot of really fantastic cameos in this, just in general.
Oh, for sure.
I think my personal favorite one has to be Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, I know. That's a great one.
Oh my god.
Made even better
when I saw that, I just absolutely beamed. I was like, yes!
Made even better by the fact Casey Kasem is Shaggy in that scene.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Dragon, that to me was like that's almost like, for me, this is gonna sound like a stupid.
I gotta be honest. Like, I met Matthew Lillard once, and I at his table with all the pictures you could have got signed. I prayed it wasn't there. I prayed that they would have had that shot.
Oh, that's great. Dragon, this is a stupid analogy, but like Matthew Lillard, Shaggy interacting with Casey Kasem, Shaggy. It's almost like my Tom and Andrew interacting together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, yeah, like that's great. Like, that's something I've always wanted to see happen. All right, anyways.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Of course, yes, and ZNK made a few excellent points here. One, ZNK brought up that I think he has a Facebook friend, if I'm reading that abbreviation right. Facebook friend who actually worked on this, Bruce Lanoy. And yes, I've seen this guy on the behind the scenes. He was the one of the puppeteers. I assume that he ended up doing the voice of Pepe Le Pew, who is actually in this movie. We hadn't canceled him yet.
And I love how he has one line and it's wildly inappropriate.
I mean, yes, yeah. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right. Because I think
like someone kidnapping an unconscious woman and bringing her to the Eiffel Tower. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
It's like, that's about why we canceled him.
Yeah, like behind the scenes is really great. Just seeing him like on all fours, like holding like wearing like a Daffy head on his hand, like doing the dialogue in the
I'm pretty sure I spotlight this in my vlog. But Discovery Kingdom actually did get rid of their Pepe Le Pew attraction recently. All right. Anyway,
I don't know. I just I love pairing him with Daffy. Which I think is gold. Like that's a dynamic I think maybe popped a little bit more than Bugs and Kate because it's a little more one note in that regard. But I don't know.
I just say like we need to acknowledge. I think one of the absolute smartest moves that this movie makes is making Daffy the main character.
Yeah, I mean, we got to. I want to talk about one of my favorite parts is how we open this movie. Okay, so we got to talk about the opening of the film is brilliant in that when we're paying homage to Chuck Jones, especially after the man's passed, we have to go with the iconic Bugs and Daffy routine. It's like the Who's on First routine for these two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rabbit season, duck season. We have like the interesting meta slant on it from Daffy's perspective, where Daffy's after all these years of this sketch, he's had enough. He's doing this Bugs Bunny movie. If he's gonna do this one more time, it's like no. He's complaining to the Warner Brothers themselves, which, by the way, are the twins from the Gremlins movie and Terminator 2. It's the same twins, just without the mustache.
Really? That's funny.
They shaved the mustache years later. It's them. They're playing the Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the idea Daffy complains and he makes it like a him or me situation. He gets fired. It's hilarious.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk Jenna Elfman because she's not bad, man, but
I mean, in general, I like Jenna Elfman. She was on the show.
To use the phrase that the kids are using these days, Dragon, her character is very mid.
Mid?
Like, just mid-tier. Like, she's just kind of She's just kind of there to drive the plot along.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I appreciate what they were going for with her, but it feels like, she kind of got shortchanged in the crux of things. Or, I mean, look, she's kind of like a satire on the executive thinking and everything, where she's like behind Lethal Weapon babies, and the icy sheet Kathy puts her is the VP of comedy. That's kind of funny.
My problem with her character is that I feel like after the first act, she barely even feels like a studio executive. She's pretty much just along for the ride.
I mean,
like if they would have kept more of the snarky kind of like studio executive note to her, I think her character would have been a little bit more dynamic.
I mean, Tiki, I think simply put, it's that she doesn't do anything during the adventure except, she gets kidnapped once and she's kind of just there to be a little skeptical.
Yeah, and she's also there because it's a freaking kids movie from the 2000s, so we have to have a love interest, even though her and Brendan Fraser, frankly, have no chemistry.
Now, to be fair, they did call that out, though. They did call that out. It was quite funny the way they did. All right, so they just kind of rolled with that. One's not bad. Okay, they rolled with that. But you're right, though. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Because of those elements, I can give her a pass. But yeah, you're right. She doesn't really do much for the plot. And this thing Joe Dante's always kind of battled with a lot of his movies. Though. The female characters, like again, look at Gremlins 2. You know, Phoebe Cates. Yeah, there's only so much we can do with her. You know, I think she got a lot more to do in the first movie. But that's the thing. Now, I do want to shout out Dick Miller because we have to in all of these. You know,
of course.
I love Dick Miller's cameo in this film, where he is like, you know, he's the security, the veteran security guard.
Yes.
You know, and the idea
I love how he's barely got any screen time, but there's still a little bit of history with him and Brendan Fraser there.
Yeah, the idea that he might have known his father, says, you know, your father would be disappointed. I love they had this seriously. To get done. Here's the thing: Dante's in his Inferno while he's making this movie, but you know what? He's getting some juice in there here and there, where he has just this little moment of like the little moments of history, and just Dick Miller bringing out the magic here. He says, "Look, you know, your father can get you any job you want on the lot here." He says, "I want to do it my own way." There's like a respect there between the two of them, and hilariously, when poor DJ is fired, and we'll talk about how he's fired in a second. I love how he's fired. When he's fired, like almost like a military thing, he rips off the patch and then tells them to remove the shirt. Which is what's the point? We're just the shirt, but you'll notice it's a little Joe Danteism if you look really carefully. After he rips the patch off and they walk off, Dick Miller gets off of like a soapbox that he had to stand on to be taller than Brendan
I did not know. I didn't even notice that. That's great.
But seriously, I love it. It's like it's such an honorific thing. Your father be ashamed of. It's just the fact that Dick Miller commands so much respect, he could intimidate anyone, even Brendan Fraser. But seriously, the way DJ gets fired, so the fact that I think the best element of the movie is the backlot setting. Honestly, I think it's probably where we get all. That's where we get our, you know, Case and Matthew Lillard. You know,
I think I agree that the best section is the backlot. As far as the best set goes, though, Dragon, I fucking love everything about the Yosemite Sam Casino.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to Vegas in a second.
Just from a set design point of view.
Oh, you're right. But regardless, I'm just saying that it's like Tiki. What's great about the backlot on the whole is that it's like Animaniacs in live action, which is awesome. Like Tiki, think about how amazingly crazy this is. You know, we crash into a Roger Corman Batman movie. Roger Corman's directing this, so the guy who gave Joe Dante his start, like the man who basically at the impresario of the B movie, Schlock, the man who gave us that Corman fantastic. Anyway, so the fact is, Joe Dante, who was offered Batman before Tim Burton, has a man in a Kilmer Batman suit, which, by the way, every prospective Batman actor, I mean, everyone, Christian Bale, anyone who auditions, Robert Pattinson, they all have to wear, like, the sonar suit from Batman Forever. He's wearing that suit. And originally, the film was supposed to open with, like, a Daffy Duck Batman parody. It was supposed to open with Daffy pitching him in a Batman with Elmer Fudd as the Joker. And the point being, the fact that we crash an icon that is the Batmobile into the other icon that is the Warner Brothers water tower, crashing it, and that's just
those two
amazing.
Like might be the biggest icons of all of Warner Brothers. That's just those two things right there.
The fact that we crashed them, we used Roger Corman to do so, and it's brilliant. It's amazing. And
all right, let's get to some comments here.
Yeah, sure.
So Z and K said, apparently Yakko, Wacko, and Dot were going to appear in the Warner Tower was destroyed. Little Blue, welcome, by the way. I don't think I've seen you around, so happy to have you here. He says, Z and K channel on the Warner's original making cameo, that would have made perfect sense. I think I was honestly like, are they going to do, like, when I saw the water tower coming down, I was like, are they going to do it? I don't know. The Warner Brothers aren't really canonically tied to Looney Tunes.
I think that based on the fact that they did, like, you know, the twins as the Warner Brothers, they weren't going to do the actual Warner Brothers.
Right.
That was kind of the nail in the coffin. They had to go with a gag there, and they wanted the more Joe Dante-esque gag.
I would have loved to see it.
I mean, it would have been fun, but you know.
All right. Z and K also says everything about Daffy's arc is just beautiful. Yeah. That line, all you have to do is just chomp on a carrot and everyone loves you, speaks layers. Think about it. He was created before Bugs.
I'm so glad I was going to bring this up later. I'm so glad Z and K channel brought this up now. So yes, Tiki, that's the thing that really, I think, again, a little bit of those Joe Dante-isms here, where it's like a little more where a man who loves the Looney Tunes as much as he does has looked into it and applied a layer of pathos. I kind of wish we spent maybe a smidge more time on the pathos, but I liked what I got. Just the idea that Bugs, if you notice, even when Daffy's getting fired, Bugs isn't happy about that. It's the fact that he knows that he and Daffy, they need each other. They are very simpatico. They're tied to the hip. Again, it's rabbit season, duck season. We saw hilariously, and you got to admit this is pretty hilarious, even though by proxy of Kate, her whole reason for being the adventure is she had, she, because of her actions, and just going along with executive thinking here, they did rabbit season, duck season without Daffy, which resulted in Bugs Bunny getting shot a lot of times. Oh, the agony. It's just hilarious.
That's a really good meta gag.
So that's just, again, just the fact that these two characters need each other, and Bugs is like confident. Oh, Daffy always comes back. He's, they pulls up like his giant Hollywood star and all the little Bugs awards, and we want Daffy back. It's hilarious. So just all of this, the fact that it does boil down to that line where Daffy's always kind of chasing Bugs' star. Maybe Bugs, kind of gives that a little bit of thought for a second there, because you can't have these characters change fundamentally, but it gets to where it is at the end of the movie, where it's, Bugs giving Daffy a little bit more.
I honestly think that Daffy is sort of like the people's champion when it comes to Looney Tunes characters. Yeah. Anyways, I honestly feel like the dynamic with Bugs and Daffy and Mickey and Donald are honestly like really similar. Where it's like Mickey and Bugs are the way more like I don't even want to say popular, just like they're the top, they're the top dogs, but then the ducks are probably the big fan favorites.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, you have your company man with Mickey, and you have essentially your Bill Murray, who's kind of like the straight man with Bugs Bunny.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Z and K says, people always go on about Daffy's two personalities, wacky, woohoo!
Yeah, the old school Daffy, yeah.
And jerk-ass Daffy in this movie has a nice blend between the two, even though it may lean towards the second. Yeah, I agree. It's a good blend.
Like the movie opens with the woohoo Daffy, and that's what I can really ask for. It's going to be a good blend.
Little Blue says, the section of the Looney Tunes being the villains were good choices, from Sam to Coyote and Marvin.
Let me jump there. Okay, so Little Blue, excellent point, because something I really did like with the plotting here is that through Acme, which we should talk about in a second, we have a great bad guy, the iconic, Looney Tune bad guy through line. Just kind of like we can go through all the iconic hits in a way that makes sense. Acme's calling upon them to do their dirty work. You got Yosemite Sam, you got Wile E. Coyote, you got Elmer Fudd, and Please My Dog Masters, and Marvin the Martian and the Tasmanian Devil. It's a great line. They almost had Gossamer in there, but they cut him, unfortunately. That was like that's something Joe Dante lost, unfortunately. But yeah, still, they get the whole bunch in there.
Yeah, and just in general, like villains and otherwise, I just think the selection of Looney Tunes in here and how they're used, everything from the cameos to the fucking wild way they use Granny and Sylvester and Tweety, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
I just think it all just makes perfect sense. It all fits in so naturally.
That it does. Acme, just to dub it. So, of course, James Gunn's going to have some fun with this soon with the whole,
I honestly feel like the whole Coyote part of this movie was basically just like a proof of concept for that movie.
Yeah. So, it's a fun side. How do you feel about Steve Martin as the living cartoon?
He is like, it's not the traditional Steve Martin kind of stuff. He's wild, though. It's like I feel like this is maybe one of the most out there Steve Martin roles, just from a physical point of view. Like, he is doing some really weird stuff physically.
Which again, Steve Martin has been known to do, so it fits his standard. He does like a lot of like extreme posing when he's on stage. But yeah, you're right though.
I guess that part is more his stand-up. It's just when I see him, and it's like I associate him more with being kind of like the straight man when it comes to his movie work. So,
of course, especially, you never got to Murderers in the Building, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, he was a really good straight man. Anyway, so but yeah, I love what he does, like this laugh, and he almost falls over every time he does the laugh. But yeah, I love Joe Dante's players. Majority of them are like the yes men VPs in the room, like all the silly names, like Ron Perlman, like the VP of Stupid Questions or something, and yeah, right. Robert Picardo again. Robert Picardo, the Good Luck Charmers in every Joe Dante movie. He's the one. It was like rhetorical questions. Anyway, it's really fun. We turn him into a skeleton. Ron Perlman. We have the Tasmanian Devil kill him. But he's alive. He's just a skeleton, but he's still kicking, just horrifically scarred now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the thing with me over Acme, though, I love that one. Again, we've given a face to the company that we've seen represented so many times, and we connected it to Wile E. Coyote, where they have a soft spot for the company man that is Wile E. Coyote. It is not the equipment. The equipment is fine.
Uh-huh.
No. Go take a shower. Smile. It's a big smile. Go take a shower and don't come back to your smell better. And then we have this great off-screen gag of like, I should have told him the elevators, crash, bang, and that the plate glass window is being moved, shatter. It's like, that's a brilliant joke. I love it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Brendan Fraser voice the Tasmanian
Devil?
so
Let's talk about the voices just on the way. So Brendan Fraser apparently did such a good Tasmanian Devil impression on set. They gave him the role. Because you got to remember, when they get a Looney Tunes actor, they can have him do multiple roles. So they kind of select. Joe Dante, it's on a whim for some of them, selected, who would do the voices, which Eric Goldberg probably did the scratch for some of the Looney Tunes. And they kept it for like Tweety Bird and Marvin the Martian and such. And like one of the Bugs lines, like in the Psycho scene where he says, like, doesn't anybody knock anymore? That's Eric Goldberg.
Okay, by the way, oh my God, let's talk about some of the parodies because Jesus, that Psycho bit just fucking kills me.
The Psycho bit was great. I think the Star Wars bit a little much, but the Psycho bit was perfect.
I'm just over Star Wars parodies in general. I just like, especially nowadays, like, it's like back then I can kind of forgive it a little bit more, but nowadays it's such low-hanging fruit. The Psycho thing was freaking fantastic.
Seeing the Hershey's syrup.
Yes, absolutely. And just the fact that let's talk about just this whole idea of like kind of like the different animation styles. Because obviously the one that we need to talk about, and I was aware of this scene, I just never watched it in full, is the art gallery scene.
Yes, the art gallery scenes. Yes, we go to the Louvre. By the way,
that is just like it's got to be like a Mount Rushmore Looney Tunes moment, right? I mean, just out of any Looney Tunes media,
it is great. I also want to mention, I love that we traveled there by like montage, which is really funny. Like, how do we get there? Like this, as Bugs that grabs the corner of the screen. But we kind of run through. Here's the thing. It was funny though. Night at the Museum 2 kind of ripped this off, but again, they both kind of had a good reason. For, like, one being cartoons, the other one being, well, the museum's alive. So if you're gonna do it, those are the two places to do it. But it's the fact that Looney Tunes, like, having parodied so many things like Barbara Seville.
Let's face it, like Mary Poppins was the original incarnation of
this. All right, fine.
General concept.
My point is, it makes sense given all the parodies and homages the Looney Tunes have done over the years, like the Rabbit of Seville and the What's Opera Doc and what have you. The fact that we go into these great works of art, because the Looney Tunes in themselves are wonderful works of art. So just you're doing like the Scream and then the pointillism thing. The pointillism thing, just given the years of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, is really funny.
Hold on, I gotta highlight this really quick because it's great. If Wiley ever gets a voice again, Kelsey Grammer. I will stand by this forever.
That's the thing. I mean, they're probably not going to do it because of this. But again, they've announced voices. They haven't.
I don't know though. Like, I feel like this Acme movie might be the time to actually give him a voice.
Just imagine, just like he big moment. Like imagine this for a trailer. Like Wile E. Coyote takes the stand. They're all like leaning closely. Is he going to speak? Is he going to speak? And hello, Wile E. Coyote here.
Yeah.
Sounding like the Kells. Anyway, but yeah, so let me ask you this. So here's something I don't know if you knew about this, Tiki. You probably didn't. So Joe Alasky voices both Bugs and Daffy in this film. Now, in Space Jam, you had Billy West, I believe, who voiced both those characters. So originally, Billy West was brought back to do the voices, and then Joe Dante reportedly he changed his mind. He says, "No, I want Joe Alasky." In my opinion, I think Joe Alasky is the better Bugs and Daffy. But Billy West
is a great voice actor, obviously. But
he does a great Elmer Fudd, which he does in this film. He's great.
For some reason, I don't think, besides Elmer, which you're right, he does do a good Elmer Fudd, but I don't think a lot of the main Looney Tunes he really nails.
And mind you, again, you have like a litany of like the great voice actors who have done their iteration, like Bob Berg.
Sure.
Who have done, who have been Looney Tunes characters, who do multiple Looney Tunes characters. But I don't know. Joe Alasky is always, I think, the go-to Bugs and Daffy after, of course, the great Mel Blanc, if you had in terms of our replacement guys. But But yeah, Billy West, he was really ticked off Joe Dante for that, because apparently I don't know how far they were in with the movie with that, but I mean, he still ended up in the film. He's just ticked off at Dante for that recasting anyway.
Yeah, well, Billy, Matthew Lillard is gonna know how you feel in about 2 decades from now.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Anywho, but yeah, so our voices again pretty good, pretty well cast overall.
Yeah, I would say so, and I do like the fact that they have a lot of like the casting is almost kind of like the Pixar philosophy on steroids with the scratch voices. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's very eclectic in that way.
Okay, Z and K's bringing up that deleted scene I was alluding to earlier, where again originally in the movie opened with like the bat duck opening and killing it. Basically, Elmer Fudd gets killed in the opening, and then that's where the Warner Brothers like, you killed Elmer. You can't kill Elmer. Like Elmer Fudd's like to the side. This is hilarious. Elmer Fudd's to the side. So basically saying, I don't want to be a psycho clown.
Oh my god!
He basically cries and runs out of the room.
As a sad clown.
Well, basically in response to being cast as the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm afraid of clowns.
Oh my god. Oh, that's great. That's great.
And that's
VK also says Billy did the Peter Lorre guy in his cameo. And that, honestly, out of all the like deep cut Looney Tunes cameos, that was the one I was stoked to see.
I love Timothy Dalton. I gotta tell you, again, it's silly, and only Joe Dante can get away with this and make it work. Just Timothy Dalton in that little slapping yourself ring. Just give a little zets once in a while. Like, all right, you wanted to talk about. We should talk about the travelogue aspect of our.
Yeah. I mean, we do have the one great gag where it's like I feel like they basically like do a one up on the traveling by map bit. It's like, no, we don't even need a map.
Yeah, montage. We travel by montage. That's how we get to Paris. So
right.
We go to Vegas, and of course, when we go to Vegas, we go to the Wooden Nickel, which is Yosemite Sam's casino, which is awesome in every way.
So let's talk about that just based on the set design. I absolutely love the set design.
It's like a monument to the Napoleonic ego of Yosemite Sam. Like, I love this rug.
Totally. Like, Drake, this is gonna sound silly, but it's like I can like just being in that casino, I can smell the cigarette smoke coming from that casino.
Well,
like
for me, I kind of smell gunpowder coming from that casino.
I mean, that's fair, but I'm just saying, like, the reason I say the cigarette smoke is it authentically feels like what a casino feels like. You know what I mean? It's not just that they had like, okay, let's do an Elmer Fudd building, or I'm sorry, a Yosemite Sam building. An Elmer Fudd casino would be interesting. But but you know what I mean? It's more so just like, okay, like let's actually design this as if it was an actual casino.
Yeah. I mean, I love the show with Dusty Tales. You have like the little people that are dressed like Yosemite Sam. It's really funny. But yeah, I mean, I've been to a few casinos. I think it does feel really authentic. And particularly the scene that killed me was the blackjack scene where Foghorn Leghorn, one of my favorites, Foghorn Leghorn is the blackjack dealer, and Yosemite Sam just cannot wait for his turn because they're trying to get to the Queen of Diamonds first. Hit me. And it's like, no, hit me. And he hits him with like a giant 2x4. Brendan Fraser like wincing, like, hit me. Yeah, it's great. And also, I think one of the greatest hilarious jokes in the film, I think this is probably one of the smartest jokes in the film, is during the car chase with Jeff Gordon's car, by the way. Why would he drive the race car? Just going right. Anyway. No, it's the fact that during the car chase they're throwing dynamite. Does he have dynamite? And it's just like, but they'll throw the dynamite out the window. This is like, but they're innocent people out there. It would send the wrong message to children. Just the very PC.
That's got to be a commentary on like 90s PC culture, right?
Yeah, but it's really nice though. I
like it. I like it.
Genuinely nice. I'm like, this guy's kind of nice though. You're gonna blow somebody up. That's how you do it. They're trying to be nice. All right, let's see. Anything else about the practical effects in the film are really good too, because like when we throw Daffy Duck into the fire extinguisher, he's actually in fire extinguisher foam.
No, absolutely. I mean, I feel like this whole movie is just kind of like a testament to like, this whole blend of animation and live action. Like, it's hard to pull off, but when you pull it off well, it just kind of looks there's just a timeless quality to it.
I mean, it's also like a lot. It just goes to show, man, when I mean, those. From what I understand, the spy car. I don't know if this. I'm pretty sure this is an accurate figure. I don't. I think that for like 5 spy cars, like $100,000 a piece for those cars, or
Oh
at least
Jesus!
in that neighborhood. At least for one of them, it was
Uh-huh.
100,000. But the point being, just the fact that we took like a Jeff Gordon replica race car and we practically crashed it through a casino. Or at least the set to look like a casino. The point being, it's like that's a practical crash, folks. That's impressive.
No, they crashed it right through a Vegas casino, and then they paid to do the to do the repairs afterwards.
If only. Wouldn't that be wonderful, though?
I know, right?
Okay, listen. We're going to have to crash through the casino, but don't worry. We're going to fix it up. Spick and span.
Oh, my God.
Brand new. It'll be out of commission for a while. We'll comp you. Don't worry. Money is a fluid thing. We're all good here. Just go about your business. Put some cones up. We'll be fine.
Oh, another fourth wall gag we need to bring up, Dragon, is the fucking Walmart.
Okay, yes. If you're gonna, I guess
the Walmart is amazing. Oh my
Joe
God!
Joe Dante sells out in style, and I love it.
Dragon, I am a sucker. I am a sucker for this type of gag, man. I really am. I loved when Wayne's World did it, and I love it here.
Yep. I mean, one, just to do the actual Mirage gag, like, are we going to question it? No, we're just going to take advantage of it.
right, exactly.
Just Bugs Bunny saying, it was sure nice of Walmart to throw in these ice cold beverages for us saying Walmart.
No, it's sure nice of Walmart to throw in these Walmart beverages for saying Walmart a lot.
Yep. It's really funny. So, Area 52, while we're in Vegas, so you know me, Tiki, the gadget and sci-fi nut that I am. Just wacky concept. We bring in the wonderful Joan Cusack with our cameos here, playing mom or mother. Again, based on Daffy Duck, just going mother. Which, by the way, crashing the spy car, cartoony physics at its finest. Just like oh, we're out of gas. It doesn't. Just of course, Kate questioning this.
Right.
Crash. It's great.
And again, I love that this whole movie. Like, I feel like that's one of the movie's biggest suits. Is it knows its cartoon logic and it thrives in its cartoon logic.
Yeah, which again is like, as my younger years, just seeing this, like, again, like, so rarely do you see it done this well. Again, Roger Rabbit was like the mecca, and we're seeing it kind of.
Dragon, I honestly feel like between the effects and between the fourth wall gags, if I watched this as a kid, this could have been like an Emperor's New Groove for me. I really think this. I would have been all over this if I actually gave it a chance.
I mean, again, I do pull from. I do kind of like subtly pull from this a lot. Just kind of when I'm thinking about things from time to time. Like the whole when I'm playing blackjack, I'm thinking of this scene. I'm thinking of this movie. Right. I'm like, what if? Like, just what if one time when you say hit me, Anyway, a rough and tumble crowd. Anyway. But the Area 52, this is the B movie love fest. I love there's like almost like as a written contract. There's like okay, I have to have the B movie love fest in all the films I do. So the fact
that Joe Dante, of course you do. That's literally his style.
I just love that they went full tilt with. I mean, Tiki, it's not just like homages to B movies. Like he full on pulled the B movie characters.
They literally have Robbie the fucking robot.
I'm going to list them up. You have Robbie the robot. You got the Daleks from Doctor Who. You got the Invasion of the Body Snatcher reference with the guy. It's the actual guy, by the way, and he's in black and white. And you have the robot, the gorilla robot monster that Minion from Megamind was based off of. You got the popcorn gag with the man from Planet X. You got it's wonderful. Also one of my the blue crab looking guy, from this Island Earth monster, the big blue brained blue crab looking thing. Awesome. Anyways, the fact that we got all those and made them through kind of like a monsters, they've escaped, and Marvin the Martian was the one of freedom, and they're kept in jars, big old jars with air holes.
Yeah, big old mason jars. Yes.
With air holes in them, because that little hand creature, which by the way, as a kid, I always marveled at how cool that hand creature was. Like, oh my God, look at it. It's so cool. But the gadgets and everything is, again, I was pleased as peaches just watching that scene. And the fact that I don't know, I love the energy of the scene where like Jerry Goldsmith's score just really did a number on this film the best of ways, where it's like, I knew one day this day would come, and she pushes the button that says for when this day comes, and it's like the evac button. It's just great. I know. Okay, we already kind of talked through Paris, and then we have Africa with a K.
Yeah.
So
I think my favorite part of this section is just the granny reveal.
So that's the thing. So believe it or not, Tiki, the more the movie was in its original version was going to be a lot more in the Africa setting. I don't know if like maybe Act 2 was just added
I
on
could
by the
see
studio.
it. Yeah.
I mean, in Paris, though, I just want to give credit where credit's due. Outside with the the whole going through the painting sequence, that skydiving grappling save, me, my love of grappling guns and grappling hooks, that was pretty sweet. Just going to get that in there. Anyway, yes, but yeah, going to Africa, and we're doing some Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of mummy shenanigans here. We have the very Freakazoid-esque unzip your head gag, which I got to tell you, Steve Martin cracks me up the whole. I can't reach the zip. I rehearsed it, but I never rehearsed it with the hat. Can you hold the hat? Thank you.
yeah.
And again, it's completely pointless gag. We're just unzipping. It's constantly like, Dad, no, it can't be you. It says, you're right, it isn't.
I really like that fake out, by the way, because when I saw it at first, I was like, really? The dad's the villain? All right, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, we're just making fun of the twist villain thing. Basically, making fun of Sean Connery here. We unzip, and then it's Michael Jordan, and they just pulled a clip from Space Jam. Then we unzip again, and okay, it was just him. It was a fruitless. It was a futile exercise. Anyway, so then I'll tell you that a lot of the humor works in this movie. The very few gags that don't work for me, I can count on one hand personally. Like Bob, the big giant henchman, being like a female Tasmanian devil. It's a little random.
Yeah.
That, and also, I don't need a fart joke with the Tasmanian devil.
Oh no, that to me was like the cardinal. I was just, when I saw that, I was literally just like, okay, I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
It's like the only character we should ever do that with is literally, Pepe Le Pew. He's the only character we need to do that with. Yeah. It's like we have a character literally built for that sort of joke. Like, why try to fit it anywhere else? That had to be a studio note. It had to be. Anyway, so
it was a 2000s kids movie, Dragon.
Exactly.
Even Finding Nemo has fart jokes.
Well, that was a good one, though. I mean, if you're going to do a fart joke, it's literally all the explosions underwater in one little bubble. Like, if you're going to do it. Anyway.
Yeah, and then I also think the ink stuff is also kind of like, sort of in that territory.
It's an octopus, though.
It's bodily function humor.
But it's an octopus.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying literally every kids movie of the era was doing it.
Fair enough. Anyway. So, oh, yes. So, Z and K points out, yes, the alternate ending that was at play in the Africa. So essentially, we didn't go back to Acme originally. Originally, we ended it all here. We're basically turning everybody into monkeys. And essentially, beyond monkeys, we turned like prehistoric creatures. Like Daffy got turned into an egg. Bugs got turned into like a cave monster. Tweety Bird got turned like a giant pterodactyl that ate the Acme chairman. It was wacky. I don't know if it was the right way to go. Because, I mean, I do. Here's the thing. I'm sure you're going to appreciate this, Tiki. I love the climax, especially as a kid, for a very specific reason. Bugs and Daffy going into space fighting Martian. It felt like the Jimmy Neutron Nicktoon Blast, right? It felt like a Universal.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, okay, this is pretty cool. Where Daffy's going to save the day in a spaceship, and then we get to do some Duck Dodger stuff, which I love Duck Dodgers. So that was really cool.
I was really glad that we got Duck Dodgers in there because I was in the back of my mind. I was kind of thinking that the whole movie, like, this is Daffy's movie, and Duck Dodgers is kind of like a big part of his character.
I mean, we have Marvin the Martian too, which is like practically his arch enemy, practically. So anyway, so we did all that, and also I like how Daffy ended up saving the day. Where he tossed like his bill, his bill fired at
yes.
Helped. Again, we turned like his greatest.
Just, like we've made countless gags with the bill, and so.
And we paid it off quite nicely. After all these years, he found a way to save the world with it.
Also, I'm going to give you a hot take here. I actually think he says Taz farting is similar to Porky saying he wet.
In Space Jam,
but not as bad as that. I honestly think Taz farting is worse.
I mean, yeah, because at least the Porky Pig one's like, look, it's not great, but at least it's off screen, and it's like literally.
It's off screen, and I also feel like it's more in character.
I mean, yeah, it would be kind of scared out of his wits.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I look at the 9, they were great, but I mean, at least we didn't see it on screen like we did with the fart. Like a little plume of brown. Like, I don't need that.
In Taz is like, he's definitely one of my favorite Looney Tunes. Maybe not from a humor point of view, but definitely from like a design point of view. I really dig his design.
Let me put it this way. you can make there's certain variety of jokes you can make with Looney Tunes that are kind of like you can make a proctology joke with Looney Tunes rather recently, like Daffy Duck. He laid all the golden eggs. Like I didn't know
yeah.
we're proctologists. Like there you go, that works. That's a clever joke, and it's you can always do like the rubber glove gag in the Looney Tunes, but bodily functions. It's like Fred and Barney using the bathroom during the commercials. That's
Oh God, yeah,
you can't.
yeah.
It's like certain things with cartoons you just shouldn't do with the classics.
Anything to say on John Cleese's cut cameo?
Yeah, I forget what his cameo was, but I heard it was cut, and it's it's a shame anytime we cut a John Cleese cameo. Honestly, it's kind of it's somewhat of a war crime, I'd say.
Have you people seen the Great Muppet Caper?
Now there's a John Cleese cameo.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Dubonnet Club. Yes, you'll find it. Right. So, anyways, just with the climbs again, we are kind of talking about the space stuff. But I gotta tell you, just, I do love, I love Timothy Dalton. Just kind of this hilarious image of Timothy Dalton, like saying, "Oh, I've gotten out of worse scrapes, just surrounded by dynamite." This ultimate death trap. He's in like the train of death is coming for him. He's bundled with dynamite all around him. Little fuse about to go off, and then the chairman points out, "What's with the pendulum of doom? The pendulum of doom is overkill. Get rid of the pendulum of doom."
yeah.
I will say this: I think the giant mechanical dog that is overkill, and that's an effect that
that was the one thing in the climax I wasn't really a fan of. Yeah, I agree.
I do love the gag though. If he swings and saves his father like in a way that would be impossible, like he's on the other side, he's okay.
right.
And we blow by like
But again, every time we question cartoon logic like that, like probably one of my favorite gags in Emperor's New Groove is like, "Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make any sense."
Sure. Now again, back to the Universal thing. I can't explain. I can't give a good reason as to why, but you know what? It's just I can't tell you the joy I feel when you have this bit between father and son when they're reunited after he's looked for his father the whole movie. Very simple goal for our character. He says, "Dad, I think we should move. What's wrong with it?" If I forget if he says Burbank or what's wrong with Beverly Hills. What's wrong with Beverly Hills? No, from the spot. And they have the giant spaceship careening for him, and they scream and run, and it just crashes. Again, feels so much like the way you end like a simulator ride, like a
totally, yeah.
Glass. Like, oh my god, that's great. And then you have like the like a ride like that. It's like we have the reveal. Like, okay, we've been shooting a movie the whole time. Daffy's been bamboozled into the Bugs Bunny movie the whole time. We take away the sets and everything. It's like the safety of fakeness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just delightful. And again, Daffy's getting a little bit more respect from Bugs. Not a lot, not top billing or anything, but And then we punch Brendan Fraser in the face, and that's just hysterical. Just like Brendan Fraser, like, "Hey, remember? Oh yeah, I got you fired. I get a lot of people fired. That might have happened." And he just punches him. It's adorable.
Yeah, and again, like we have to just acknowledge how clever it is that they like Brendan Fraser is his own stunt double in the Mummy movies.
Just funny, God. Loved it.
Have you ever been on the Revenge of the Mummy ride at Universal?
I mean, I never was on it, Tiki, but I've looked into it. Yeah.
I actually think you'd be able to handle it.
I mean, maybe.
It's really not that bad as far as coasters go. It's really not. But anyways, do you know? Are you aware of the whole cup of coffee gag in that ride?
Isn't it like at the end of the ride or something? Like,
it is at the end of the ride, yes. But throughout the whole queue, there's this whole like running gag with Brendan Fraser asking for the cup of coffee.
It's his character, though, right? Like his character.
Yeah. Yes.
Huh. Well, vaguely, yeah. So
no, it's not his character. It's actually Brendan Fraser because
so it is Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. So the whole storyline of the ride is basically that they're filming in a real Egyptian tomb that happens to be cursed. It's a pretty meta concept,
right?
So yeah, at the end with the gag, with Brendan Fraser and the mummy hand giving him the coffee, that was actually like a big payoff to the whole Q thing. Anyways.
Nice. Okay, nice. I see what you're going for there. Okay. Yeah. But and of course we turned the lights out in Porky Pig mid-sentence. Pretty funny.
All right. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. Dragon, any final thoughts on your end?
I mean, Luna's back in action is quite underrated. It's always getting the shaft as opposed to Space Jam, where everyone's going to go into that. Which, I mean, look, I get the nostalgia for that, but still, folks, you gotta. I think it's kind of a miracle ultimately. Even though Joe Dante had probably the worst professional experience of his life, taking like his dream project and probably dealing with studio heads in the most intrusive way than they've ever been before. They turned out pretty darn good. I gotta be honest with them. It's underrated. And
I mean, I can totally see like some of the stuff with the human characters being off-putting to him, but yeah, I mean, all the stuff that matters, all the Looney Tunes stuff is wonderful.
So again, I think you should take solace in that. You did right by Chuck Jones. I think Chuck Jones at least would be happy with like the Looney Tunes and the representation of the fact that good, Joey did a good job by me. Very good on you, Joe.
Mm-hmm. All right, and finally, big thanks to Z and K and Little Blue for commenting throughout this thing. It's been great to have you along for the ride. And yeah, lastly, we will be doing Small Soldiers later this week, so look forward to that. All right, well, that's all, folks, until the next screening of our tribute to Dick Miller's biggest fan, where our action figures are award-winning actors and we hog tie Leonard Bolton when he disagrees with us on Dante Month.
That's all, folks.